Hello gamers, welcome to another edition of Tonight on Mage Hammer's Game Table, where tonight I'm continuing my series featuring my Delves and Dangers Rule Light Fantasy Role-Playing Game. It's a solo session where my heroes, the Heroic Hairfoots for Hire, led by Theo Shieldfoot. He is a cleric, Hairfoot cleric of Retha, Goddess of Luck. His trap-springing stealth specialist, Lock Picker, Fenster Sneakfoot, Hairfoot Thief. His second in command, Barry Goodhollow. She is a Hairfoot wizard, folk hero who saved her town from an undead incursion. Their muscle is Clyde, a Hairfoot fighter who wields dual short swords and is the toughest Hairfoot I know. Okay, so at the end of last episode, or in last episode, the heroes discovered that they had been betrayed by the minions of Sisyphus, a deep dragon they had made a deal with to get a dragon-slaying sphere off of some dread elves who had driven Sisyphus out of the dark beneath and closer to the surface, where he began to dominate kobolds to go get him the cows from nearby villages to feed him. And that's what brought the Hairfoots there. The Hairfoots made a deal. They'd get the spear and bring it to him. They found the spear, and Sisyphus' minions took the spear and ran. So the Hairfoots have been left down in the dark beneath without a guide, and they're trying to find their way home, trying to remember their way as they went. And so they have just managed to take a rest. It was a long day of trekking through the darkness. They have Barry Goodhollow's staff, but even that staff can't necessarily chase away all of the oppressive darkness of the earth above them. So what we're doing is I have this nice Axebane's deck of microbaps for underground caverns, and they have to find their way back through 10 of these cards, and I have them make a check to test their memory, and if the check fails, they go into a dead end card out of this deck, and if they make it, they go through a throughway card, and they have to get through 10 of those throughway cards to be able to make their way back from whence they came. So now we begin with the action. So they are I rolled at the end of last episode, and they were the night passed uneventfully. They've recharged their healing stones have recharged, and they also her power points recharged, but then she spent one to cast her magic armor, and now they're ready to continue on their way. Man, what I wouldn't give for a Granny Shieldfoot warm meal. I'm tired of eating this. Tired of eating this dehydrated meat and fruit. Yeah, me too. Maybe we can start hunting some of the creatures down here. Yes, but they may not be safe to eat, I suppose. Anyway, let's get a move on. So Barry recasts her light spell, and they start down a passageway, and they come to a junction. So we shall see if they are able to figure out which direction they are going. All right, so here we go. All right, so what I've been doing is I make Barry Theo the main, 2 dice from Barry because her mind is 3, and 1 from the other 2 members because theirs is 1, and I believe I'm making it a DL5, and they have to get 5 successes. Wow, that's not a great start. So technically, I'm counting this as a roll for just Theo, so he gets to reroll a failed die. All right, so they're going to go into a dead end piece and see if they encounter anything of significance there. So it'll be this card. All right, so there's these crystals on the ground as they walk through. All right. So they enter into the cave over here. They come to this juncture here. They're going to decide whether to go left or right. So 1, 2, 3 to go left, 4, 5, 6 to go right. Well, as I said, Granny Shieldfoot says, spin around, say stop, and that's the direction you go. So they're going south. They go into that room. There don't appear to be any crystals there. These crystals are creepy. Clyde's like, don't touch anything. So they come into this room and there are bones there. Let's see if there's a creature in there. I'd say, well, it could be a hazard too. We'll see. On a 1 or 2, there's an encounter. All right, no encounter, but they find these bones. Something's lair. Now, let's go the other direction. So they go up there into 2. No encounter, but they have these strange crystals that are poking up from the ground. They're slightly glowing. These are weird. Yeah, definitely. Actually, I'm quite fascinated. All right, so they find this passageway there. Let's see if there's anything in 3. Nothing in 3. Well, there's a cliff face to climb. Well, let's do it. So they're gonna have to climb up that. Clyde said, I'll climb up there and I'll send down a rope out of my traveler's pack. So he's gonna go up, excuse me. He's gonna go up. He needs to make a strength check to make the climb. It's pretty easy climb, so we're gonna give it a DL3. He rolls 3 dice. Gets to reroll a failed die. All right, so he's unable to scale it at first, so it's gonna take him a little longer. So he scales up again. Reroll a failed die, and 2 exploding dice. All right, so he makes it up this time. He sends down a rope. Everybody else climbs up easily. They go to the next part, same thing. 2, he rerolls a failed die. Yep, there it is. 3, he could roll exploding dice, but doesn't need to. And so they make their way out of the crystal room, up into this area. So they go. Let's see if there's anything in 4. Nothing in 4. 5. Nothing in 5. Come to a really tall thing. Let's see if there's anything in 6. There's nothing in 6 either. So he's going to climb up there to look. And reroll a failed die and exploding die. All right, so he makes his way up. There's crystals everywhere. And he's like, nothing and no way to go. So back the way we came. So they make their way back. They make their way back out into the hall and they try to go another direction. Alrighty. Okay. So, once again, we do the 5. They need a DL5. They're helping Theo to kind of remember, sending out little reminders like, yeah, I remember this. Or Fencer's like, I remember that, and yeah, and I think we went this way. And they only got a 3, so they go to, they are a bit lost. So there you go. They go into this area. This fairly looks inhabited. So let's check that out. So there's those little pits there. I'm gonna say there's nothing there unless, you know what, unless there's guards. You know what, no, let me roll. I'll roll, but it won't be a hazard. It'll be, if there's an encounter, it will be creatures. No guards here. So they make their way there. They Granny Shieldfoot it. He spins around, they tell him to stop. So they're going north. Let's see if there's anything in that north cavern. There is not. See if there's anything in 3. There is something in 3. Let's see what we have in this place. All right. All right. Okay. Sounds good. So, open up my rule book to the hostile foes section. All right. So they get close. I'm going to see if they are able to detect, because they obviously can never surprise anything with her light that lives down here. And the things that live down here, yeah. have dark vision, obviously. They live in the darkness. So we'll see if they can sense. Everybody will get a check. And it'll be a DL3. Each one is separate here. Ooh, Theo is not being perceptive at all. Barry is, though. And Fenster both. They both. Barry's like, I don't know. I smell something. I don't like. I think there's something. There's something in the shadows. And then out of the shadows pop. Oh. Alright. And let's see how many we got here. My encounter table says 2 per hero, so we're got 8 of these things. And they are like, they have like frog-like eyes. I'm going to use some lizard people miniatures, but ultimately they are troglodytes. I think this is officially, that's a Kuatoa. So yeah, yeah. So these miniatures will do. So they're in room 3, so it's about this area in here. Good enough. On the map here, my underground dweller stuff here. And they've got spears and clubs, so they are attacking with those things. Yeah. All right, so a couple more and we are good to go. So my lizard men, my lizardmen miniatures are really troglodytes, folks. Use your imaginations. I only have a couple troglodyte miniatures, but that works. It'll work for what we need it to do. And then we're gonna pretend they have it too. Yep. Okay, so they attack. It's not initiative, or they did see them, so it is initiative. Sorry, I take that back. I misspoke. All right. So Fenster is going before. Clyde is going before. Man, those are some pretty good rolls. Theo's going before, and Barry looks like, yeah, Barry's after. All right, so no initial sleep spell, folks. All right. So, dun 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 dun. All right, so we're gonna go with Clyde goes. I'll go straight. I'll go right. I'll shoot my hand crossbow. So Clyde runs up on this guy here. Theo up on this guy here. Fenster stands in front of Barry and fires off his hand crossbow. So we'll do Theo's attack first. He now wields 8 dice with his Warhammer. And he gets, that was a success. Reroll a failed die and 1 exploding die. Ooh, turns into another exploding die. Yeah, so 2, 4, 6, 8, all 8 successes. They have very primitive armor, hide armor. So it is, so oh, that was him. He plows this guy down with his Warhammer, just cuts him down, and finishes his move up on this guy. Clyde, he uses 9 dice at this point. I had leveled him up at the beginning of the last episode, by the way. So you can go back and check out that video if you want to see what their character sheets look like at this point. Reroll a failed die. Ooh, 2 exploding dice. Whoa, Clyde. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. More than enough to cut that one down. So far, it's a great opening salvo by the Heroic Hairfoots. Fenster fires off his hand crossbow. And that is reroll a failed die, and he gets 4 successes, so he injures that one. All right. And now the troglodytes attack. Now, once they get there, at this point, they now have to make a deal. These two have to make DL3 strength checks because the troglodytes' stench could inhibit them. So DL3 strength resistance. Theo has a 3 strength resistance. He's rolled 3 successes. Reroll failed die, and he gets it. So he is not affected by their stench. Clyde has to roll a. He rolls 4 successes, so he is unaffected by their stench. All right, so now these 3 move on to Clyde and attack. They roll 4 dice with their spears, and so 2 of those attacks. All right, so 3 successes. That is 1 damage on Clyde. And this one has an exploding die. And so that's still 4, so 2 successes, 2 damage to Clyde. Because he has 2 armor with his chainmail. All right, and then an attack on Theo. Does not get through his armor. And then these 2 move up on Fenster. And exploding die. So 3. Fenster has 2 armor, so he takes 1 damage from that one. And he takes 2 damage from that one. So, okay. All right. So he and Barry now have to make a strength resistance roll or be affected by the stench. So we'll do Barry's first. She needs a DL3. She needs to get an exploding dice. She is at -3 dice to all her rolls, including casting. And then Fenster, he got an exploding die. So yes, he is not affected. Only Barry is affected by their stench. I will put a little marker next to her to remind me that she is affected by the stench of the troglodytes. This will do. All right. And then it is her action. So she's slightly panicked, so she's going to try to sleep these 2. Sleep takes 2 power points. And she normally gets 8 casting dice, but it's going to be 5 because of the stench. And she's trying to put those 2 oh, she's really affected. So she gets to reroll a failed die, and she gets an exploding die. Ooh, this might come through. All right, so 3 successes. They have a mind of 2. She manages to put 1 of them to sleep. And then she backs up a bit. Back out into the passage, leading out of 3. Trying to get away from that stench, which is horrible, causing her to retch. She managed to get that spell off, though. All right, so initiative. Okay. Let's see what happens. Ooh, Fenster. Fenster, it goes before, so thank goodness for that Hairfoot luck. Barry, she's going before. Clyde, uh-oh. Ooh, Clyde. Ooh, Clyde managed to pull it out. He's going first, too. Theo's before. Okay. So, they will do Theo first. He swings. 2, 4, 6, 8. Swings at his opponent. And that is 2. And he gets to reroll a failed die. And he gets an exploding die. And another exploding die. Which is going to be enough. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 minus 1. That is a killing blow on that troglodyte. And he moves up to help his friend Clyde. Clyde takes a swing at one of his opponents. With his dual short swords, and reroll a failed die. And that's not great for Clyde. It's okay. It's okay. It happens. So Clyde does 3 damage to one of these guys. one of these troglodytes. Barry is going to move over here and cast another sleep spell at that crew. She is still only rolling 5 dice because she is still technically affected by the stench, and reroll a failed die. And so she puts 2 of them to sleep. And then Fenster over here is fighting. He has 5 dice with his short sword, and he gets reroll a failed die and 2 exploding dice. Ooh, so he is looking at, he did 4 damage to the one that he was fighting. And we'll say that, well, I'm not going to say that is enough to take that one down. All right, so that troglodyte attacks Fenster. He's not really aware of his the demise of his, or the sleepiness. So Fenster takes 1 damage. And attack on Clyde. All right, so Clyde takes 2. Okay, and that's initiative. Fenster goes before. Clyde is going after. Theo is going after. Clyde is going before, and then Barry's going before. Okay, cool. All right, so Barry's going to magic bolt the one on Fenster. 5 dice. Reroll a failed die. She gets an exploding die. So he has an agility of 2, so that is 3 damage to the one that Fenster is. Oh wait, I'm sorry, he took him out. So she shoots the one Clyde's fighting. Sorry, I lost track of my battlefield there. So that is enough actually to take this one down. So Fenster makes quick work of the sleeping troglodytes. She eventually is able to breathe again. Retches it all out, and then we'll see if they have any treasure. After my math debacle last episode, I decided to simplify my treasure rules. So, anyway, that's just one of those details that it's not a big deal. All right, these things carry no treasure significance. They're wearing some primitive teeth necklace, but that's really it. All right, so let's see if there's anything left in 4. There is not. So there's just a small band of troglodytes in this area. So they go back down. They go down here, and there are some of those mushroom things. Let's see if they're hazardous. They are not hazardous, so they make their way through there. Let's see if there's anything layering in 5. There is not. And then they come to there. Let's see if... Yeah, so whoever's bedrolls those were long abandoned. I'm not going to go through the whole strength since there's nothing up there. If there were, it had to do strength checks for Clyde. So we'll just say Clyde climbs up there, looks around, sees that there's no passage this way, goes back down. They make their way back out into the wilds, I suppose. Now they have to make another roll to see if they can recognize where they are and find their way. And that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Reroll a failed die. Yeah, so they make it there anyway, and plus there's an exploding die. So yeah, so they finally found something familiar, and they make their way through a throughway map. Oh, perfect. All right, so let's see if there's anything in this room with the water as they make their way through. Nothing. So they make their way through. So they got themselves another card. So they need to do 6 more cards. No, wait, 5 more cards. All right. Excellent. Nice. Okay. And the second roll, Theo re-rolls. And they only get 3, so they go to a dead-end card. And there's a dead-end card. Ooh, that's the dead-end card. That was Sisyphus Lair, so let's do, that's a through card. So we'll go, here we go. All right, so they enter in here and see if there's anything in 1 to disturb them. There is something in 1. Let's see if it's a hazard or if it's a creature. It is a hazard. All right, so let's see what kind of hazard we can have here. Yes. All right. As soon as the light enters, a swarm of bats flies. Oops, sorry. Hit the camera. A swarm of bats flies at them. They have to make a DL3 or they are bitten. DL3 resistance. Hairfoots are naturally agile. And if they're bitten, we'll go from there. All right. Oh my goodness, Theo. Theo is bitten. Fenster is not. Okay. Fenster is not bitten. Clyde. Oh, Clyde. Clyde is not. Did I say deal 3 or 2? Let's make it deal 3. There's a lot of bats. So Clyde is bit. Clyde is bit. Barry is not bitten. And let's go with, that's it, right? So Theo's bitten and Clyde is bitten. All right, so bat bites aren't necessarily horrible unless the creatures are diseased. So I'm gonna roll a d6. I'm gonna roll 2d6. If it rolls snake eyes, they catch a disease. And yeah, so. All right, woo, that was close. That was Theo. And Clyde, none. So the bats that bit them are not carrying any disease, and it's not enough of a to do any kind of stamina damage. So, speaking of which, Clyde is going to use a healing stone while they're walking, and he is back to full, I believe. Full health. Fenster is going to hold off. He may need it later. Okay. All right. So all that walking. Barry replenishes 2 power points an hour. So it's been over an hour of walking there. All right, so now, so they find a swarm of bats. There's some crates there, and they bash open the crates, and it's just old, moldy things, maybe. Yeah. So they continue into 2. Let's see if there's anything in 2. There is something in 2. Let's go hazard. 1, 2, 3 hazard. 4, 5, 6 creature, and it is a creature. I have an idea as to what kind of creature I want it to be. We'll see what the dice tell me. Ooh, that's interesting. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. So lurking. I don't know if they're going to be able to see this or not. Sense it. We'll see. We'll see if they can sense these creatures. The DL5. Theo. Alright, so Theo doesn't sense it. Clyde does not sense it. Fenster does not sense it. Barry, reroll failed die and exploding die. She does not sense it. So they are surprised. So the creatures get a free attack. So they enter into this room. There's water. Let's say the water's over in here. I have a water thing, but it's not that big, so we'll just kind of set it over here. Just this is the border of the water then, and then you go out this passage here. All right, so they enter in to number 2 here, and they go by the water, and Theo's like, hey, how's our water supply holding up? Well, we filled up not that long ago. I think we're doing okay, but you want me to go check it out? Yeah, yeah, I mean, it's just really dangerous to drink water down here, but if we get desperate, we're gonna need it. All right, let me take a taste, see what it does to me. You know, I'm tough. Yeah, but be careful. So he's gonna go over there, and just as he does... from the ceiling. Creature drops in front of him, and another creature drops down in front of the other part of the team. They're waiting by the watering hole for prey. And then another one, I'll make it 3. My encounter thing says 2, but I'm going to make it 3. Alright, so these spiders drop from the ceiling, ready to eat their prey, and they scuttle towards their prey, and they get 3 attacks, because the party did not sense... Oh, that's on Barry, that's not good. Alright, so let's do... Alright, so these spiders... Alright. Bite. So 6 dice on Barry. Oof. Ouch. Barry took a bite, man. Ooh, that's nasty. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Barry's armor's at 4 right now, so she takes 5 damage. But she must make a DL2 strength resistance roll or take additional damage from the venom of the creature. So she is going to make that roll now. DL2, reroll failed die. She makes it. She takes no additional damage, but she is shaken. All right, Theo is attacked and gets 1 point through his armor value, and he takes but he also has to make a DL2 strength resistance roll, and his strength resistance currently is at 3, and he makes it. He does not suffer additional poison damage. Clyde is attacked, and it gets through his armor for 2 points of damage, and he must also make a strength resistance roll. He has 4 strength resistance, so... Ooh, reroll a failed roll. Exploding die. Oh, he needed DL2, sorry. I said he was DL4. I don't know why. DL2, so he takes no damage. All right, or no additional damage. So now it is initiative. All right, I got the initiative dice set aside over here. So Theo rerolls a failed die. Oh, Theo's after. Clyde, wow. They're really thrown by these creatures. So Fenster and Barry both go first. Okay. So Barry, she just... Let's see what she's got spell-wise. She's going to do... She needs to get away from this thing. So she's going to use a Dimension Step spell. To teleport 30 feet away, get out of danger. It's a DL2, and she has to spend 2 power points. She is no longer under the effects of the troglodyte. That was a couple hours ago. So she is rolling her 8 dice. And she easily makes the roll. And she pops over here, up against this wall here, 30 feet away from the creature, which unfortunately leaves Fenster open to an attack, but that's okay. He forgives her. So Fenster, he attacks this creature so that he can get his opportunistic attack dice. So he gets 5 dice normally, and he gets 4 more dice for his opportunistic attack. And wow, I swear these dice of his roll the most exploding dice. It's just so exciting. He gets to reroll a failed die. Wow. All right, so he has 3, 5, 10 damage on that that creature. That's just awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Trying to set my initiative dice off to the side to save time, and it's actually costing me time. So that's 10 damage on the spider. They have a armor value of 3. They're pretty tough nut to crack. 3, so he does 6 damage, which is pretty impressive. The creature does not like that. All right. So now the spiders attack again. This one scuttles over to Fenster and attacks. Oof. So, exploding die. Another exploding die. All right. So that is 3, 6. Minus armor of 2 is 4 damage to Fenster. And then attack on Theo. Exploding die. Another exploding die. Another exploding die. Oh, Fenster has to make a check. We'll get back to that in a minute. I'll roll. So 4, 7 damage. 7 successes minus his 3 armor is 3 damage. So Theo takes 3 damage. So let's go back. Fenster has to make a DL2 strength resistance roll. And he does, no further damage. Theo has to make a strength resistance roll. And he gets to reroll a failed die, and he does. I don't need to explode that die. And then Clyde is attacked. All right. Oh my gosh. Turned that into 6 successes. Minus 2 armor, 4 damage on Theo, or Clyde. 4 damage on Clyde. He gets to make a strength resistance roll. And oof, reroll a failed die and exploding die, but he needed 2, so he's fine. He takes no damage from that. All right, now Theo swings his warhammer and smashes into this 3, 6, 8, 9. Oh no, he's at 8. He's at 8 dice. Woo. All right, so he's looking at 5 successes, 6 successes out of that, and he gets to reroll a failed die. So it turns into 7 successes on his, minus 3 armor. So that's pretty impressive. 4 damage on his. And then that's good. And then Clyde gets to attack his. Stabs and slashes with his 2 reroll failed die and an exploding die. So that's 3, 5, 7. Minus 3 armor is 4 damage to his. All right, so it's initiative. Theo, reroll failed die. Oh, exploding die. Theo cannot catch a break. He's going after again. Maybe he doesn't like spiders. Clyde should have been rolling 2 dice. And he is going before. Fenster, reroll failed die. And he is going before. Barry, reroll failed die. And she's going after. So, interesting. Okay. So, Fenster stabs at the one that's fighting Theo again instead of trying to take on the one. He's kind of dodging around the one that's attacking from behind. It's very difficult for him to do it, but he knows his best bet is to stab the one that Theo is fighting. So 5 dice and then 4 more, yes. So he attacks and he gets to reroll a failed die and he gets 2 exploding dice. Not the greatest, that's okay. 3, 6 minus 3 is 3 more damage. Not enough to kill that spider unless he decides to use a daring dice, but he might need that for poison, so he's not going to do that. Okay, so Clyde is going to attack 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. And he gets to reroll a failed die, and he gets 3 exploding dice. Wow, 3 more successes. That's great. So 3, 6, 9, 10 damage. Or successes minus 3 is 7 damage to the one he's fighting. Oh, it's just one shy of taking his down. You know what? Clyde doesn't care. He's using his daring die to add the damage, and that takes that spider down. So now he's able to go to the aid of his friends. Okay. So he moves up on the one on Theo. All right, so the one on Theo attacks Theo. Oh my goodness. Ouch. Holy. All right, so that is 2, 4, 6, 8 successes minus his 3 armor is 5 damage to Theo. And Theo has to make a DL2 strength resistance roll. Reroll a failed die. He does it. He gets a 2 anyway. Takes no further venomous damage. The venom does not seem to affect him that much. Okay, we're going to attack Fenster now. And an exploding die. And 3. He only takes 1 damage, but that's still enough that he has to check for... He has to make a strength resistance roll to not take additional venom damage. Reroll a failed die, and he manages to do it thanks to the Hairfoot luck. All right, so now it is Theo's turn. Theo is hoping to slam his down into the ground and take it out. So 8 dice for him. Woo. All right, so reroll a failed die, and he has an exploding die. So that is 3, 6, 7. That is enough to finish his off. It is not enough to finish it off. It is injured. I was looking at the wrong stat. It is hurting badly. And then Barry is going to shoot that one with a magic bolt and see if she can get over the ridiculous agility of these spiders. So she rolls 8 casting dice. Magic bolt. Reroll a failed die. She gets an exploding die. It is 3, 6, 8. They have a resistance of 5, so it's 3 gets through. Still not enough to take that one down, and she's saving her daring die. She may need it. All right. Whew. Okay, so let's roll initiative. Barry is going before, Fenster before, Theo before, Clyde. Nope, Clyde after. Okay. All right, here we go. So Theo swats at his with his Warhammer again. And he gets reroll a failed die, and he gets 2 exploding dice. So that is 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Minus 3 is 6 damage. And that is enough, finally, to fell his foe. And then Fenster now is fighting against... It is now an engaged enemy, now that Theo has turned its attention to it. So... he attacks with his opportunistic attack. Reroll a failed die and 2 exploding dice. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Minus 3 is 3 damage, and that is just enough to finish off that spider. So now, Fenster uses 2 healing charges out of his stone. And so that is 7, and 4 is 11. So he is back to full. And then Theo decides he also is going to use a healing stone. And he gets 7 more, which takes him back almost to full. Barry does not like being injured, so she is going to use a healing stone to heal herself as well. And that brings her back up to full. And Clyde as well is going to use a healing stone. And he is back almost to full. He is back, that takes him exactly to full health, stamina. All righty, folks. All right, so they see if there's anything in 3 as they travel on. Nothing. 4, nothing. 5, nothing. See if there's anything in 6. There is. Now, given the map itself, there is a bed and a chest. I'm going to say that they see the flickering light of a fire. Now, who could that be? I think we will find out next time. So they are right at the edge right here, near 6, and there's a flickering fire above. Who down here uses fire? I guess we're going to find out next time. All right, folks, thank you so much for all your support. Thank you for all that you have been giving me by watching my videos and sharing this journey, this solo gaming journey with me. Thank you so much. It means the world to me. And I'm excited to see how long it takes the Hairfoots to get home. So thank you so much for watching. Until next time, keep on rolling dice and playing games. Mage Hammer out.